Hey guys, we just wanted to give our sponsor, Michael Delozier, a huge thank you for jumping on mid-season and kind of letting me take a dream and an idea that I had and him being willing to put his name on it and Aligned Insurance's name on it and Auto Owners Insurance, and then for following me into basketball season. So Delozier, we appreciate the absolute mess out of you. I appreciate the mess out of you. Love you to pieces. Thank you so much. And as always, Friday Night Wives and anything that has to do with the wives is brought to you by Aligned Insurance and Auto Owners Insurance. And when you're looking for that, be sure to look for the handsome bald guy in the suit, and Michael Delozier will hook you up. And they actually have chapstick there. So ask him for a chapstick when you switch over to Aligned. Thanks, guys. This is Average Joe Sports Talk, and you're watching Friday Night Wives, and this may look different to you because this is not a wife yet, but when Emery marries him, he's going to be a great housewife. But I wanted to change it up and do something different. I wanted to touch on something that I feel kind of like gets neglected because coaches' wives kind of get to choose the life, but coaches' kids do not. So here on my left, balding and beautiful, I have Bayley Blanchard. His dad is also supposedly my dad. I'm totally kidding, it is the same guy, at the defense coordinator at Piedmont. And then to my right, I have my twin-ish, Allie Curry, and her dad was at Piedmont. And then we're going to go ahead and call, or not Piedmont, at Center. Sorry, I wanted to come, Coach Curry. Her dad was the head coach at Cherokee County in Center. And then we're going to call in quickly, Ty Sparks, whose dad was the head coach at UWA, which is, where is that? It's on a lake somewhere. It's near Auburn, which we all have something mean to say about Auburn today and every Saturday. So I want go ahead and give Ty a ring in. And Allie, I'm gonna let you go ahead and tell us what you're doing now that your dad has retired, and now what is your life like as not a coach's kid?
Well, it's been different. I was this year's been a little bit better than last. Last year was kind of sad not being like Friday nights not being consumed with football. You know, it was kind of weird at first, but I am working with home health now, doing therapy, and so it's been good. And Dad has been at home. He's just been enjoying retirement.
Yeah, how has that been having Coach Curry at home all the time? Is Jane Ann ready to punch him in the face?
She decided to start working again because she was like, my retirement is no fun now that you're retired. So she actually decided to start working again, and he's just the man of the house. He's there all day just about. He's looking for stuff to do, work to do, jobs to do, going out to eat. I mean, whatever he can to kill time throughout the day. He's not used to having nothing to do, I feel like.
Having nothing to do. Well, I think we have Ty on the line. Hey, Ty. Ty, can you hear us?
Yes, 10-4.
Okay, well, let's remember that this is a family-oriented show, so don't tell me how you really feel. But I wanted to talk about when your dad, Randy Sparks, was at UWA. What was that like for you growing up as the coach's kid in UWA?
Well, let's rewind it. My dad was the head coach at Wadley for 15 years before we moved to UWA, and
back it up.
That was the majority of my life before I went to college, and it really, some of the small things were what I hold most dear. This is pretty funny. Dad always had an office in the old gym, and when all the regular kids would have to go to the bathroom, they would have to go to the public school restroom. But I would always go up to Dad's office to use the restroom in the middle of the day.
Those public school potties are gross, aren't they, Ty?
They're nasty. So, and the old gym bathroom wasn't much better, but at least everybody else wasn't using it. And then also growing up, I would always go spend the break time with my dad. Instead of spending it with my classmates, I always went to the old gym and had break with Dad. So those are just two things growing up, but I guess more of a on the field conversation. Dad never took anything home. If we had an issue with practice or game plan, it stayed at the field house, and that was something that I always appreciated we never took it home. Unless it was good things.
Unless it was
Good
good
were
things.
talked about at home, but the bad things stayed at the field house.
Well, Ty, that probably kept you out of a lot of trouble, I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Ty, one of my questions is how did you deal with, because being a coach's kid, like everyone always has something to say. How did you deal with, I don't want to say haters because this isn't a rap video and I'm not Kanye, but how did you deal with people who weren't wild about Mr. Randy, which by the way, there's not very many people who aren't, and if you have a problem with Randy, you have a problem, period.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. I guess it's one of those things, though. I mean, if you do have a problem with him or with my dad, those things rarely showed their head.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, when you're winning on the field and having success, those issues usually take care of themselves. To be honest, those issues rarely came up, and when they did, they weren't much of an issue.
So when you transferred to Piedmont, because Ty did transfer to Piedmont, what year was it? Your junior year or your senior year?
Christmas of my junior year in 2012.
And it was 100.
2012.
100% legal, turn power off at your house and everything. So anyone has a question about that, there was no power on at the Sparks house in Wedowee. But what was it like coming to Piedmont and no longer playing for your dad, but now you had a different coach?
Well, Coach Smith was probably the only coach in the state that could have filled that void. I'd known Coach Smith since I was about 7 or 8 years old. And, although we didn't have a close relationship when I moved, I still knew, I knew him, I was comfortable around him, and knew what he was about. And he and my dad were very, very close as well, and they both respected each other. And I don't believe there was another coach in the state that my dad would have felt comfortable for me playing for, because, he had groomed me and molded me from the time I was, 5 or 6 years old to play for him. And then when that changed, I just felt like he was very comfortable with Coach Smith, coaching me my last year, because we all know how important that senior year of football is. And then just on the football side, Coach Smith's offense was very, very similar to what my dad ran. Just the handoffs, the reads, the formations were very, very similar. The only thing that was different was the terminology, but that transition was very, very smooth.
Well, Ty, thank you so much for your time. I wish you could have been here, but we'll see you super soon, Ty the Ticket Guy. And we love you, and I will holler at you later.
Love you guys. Thank you for the opportunity.
Bye. Okay, that was Ty Sparks. And so, well, I'm sounding like my grandpa. I wanted to kick it to Bayley, and our dad coached with your dad, and so, we've all grown up together, this little trio, and there's more, really and truly, there's more of us that have grown up together, but we wouldn't all fit here, so it's just one of those. But what was it like for you? Because, it's one thing for us, like, as the daughters, like, we don't have to be in the field house. Like, there's no one that's going to come up to us and try to smash our head into a locker because they're not that dumb. But Bayley got beat up all the time.
All the time. Well, I would say this first. When I was young, Coach Curry and my dad coached together, and they let me be the ball boy. So that was pretty awesome. That's how I got started doing that and being around the game and going to the practices and all that. And also, funny thing, when I was younger and was at Cherokee County, I dressed up as Coach Curry for Halloween one year.
Yes, he did.
So, but yeah, just, being a coach's kid, it has its ups and downs. Me and Dad had our times, going away for practice, just talking about practice, which we talk ball all the time. So I would sit down and we'd watch film together before games. And, I still do that. When I come home, I'm playing at West, but when I come home, I'm, hey, what are y'all doing this week? What kind of scheme are you running? Stuff like that. And, like you said about the daughter thing, and it might be a little different because, guys have that testosterone and they want to, prove their point about everything. And I think a lot of people don't understand, the relationships that like our fathers build with these players. Like, they don't understand that and the real bond and how it hurts when you lose, and winning together, it means a lot. So I think that's a big thing. So
Well, and that's now see by you being a player, which now it's different now because you're in the stands too. When COVID's not running rampant and you're getting to play your own season, but we have to sit in the stands and we have to listen. Well, you don't have to anymore, but like for me, it was one of those like my age gap between like Meg and Bailey is so big that I went away for a while and I'd come back and people would be like, oh, what's the defense doing? And I just turn around and look at them. They're thinking like, what's that? What does that lady care? And then like I'm like, that's my dad. Because I'm not good at being quiet. Like I really will. Like he's had games in West Al. There was one that you guys were away. I don't remember where it was, but for some reason the home team, a lady from the home team came inside on the visitor's side and she sat behind my parents. And she was like, oh, Aiden, not like talking about Bailey, and Mom was just praying. She's like, Lord, thank you so much that Tara's not here because only I can hate Bailey, and only I can question James, which I've never questioned James Blanchard on football, but only I can be like, hey, what's going on? And I know that you are the same way about your dad. So let's talk about you in the stands.
Well, most of the time he was coaching, I was usually like either I was younger and I was running around playing, on the track or whatever. And then a lot of times I was in the student section, and I guess, in the student section it wasn't as bad as it was like where all the parents and stuff sit. But when I graduated and like when I would come back and stuff is when I guess I really started to notice it so much. And it's just one of those things, like Ty said, when you're winning, everything's good and it kind of takes care of itself. And then when you're losing, that's when you really, really hear all the people saying stuff. And so Mom was more so like she would turn around and just kind of look, and then people were like,
Oh no, she has ears.
So it was just I was usually pretty good about it, but I guess there was a few times I would turn around and kind of look. But Mom usually took care of that before I had to do anything. So
Jane Ann will scrap.
Oh goodness. So it wasn't as bad in the stands, like I said, because most of my time was like in the student section and stuff. So we had fun.
The student section was where it was at.
It was where
Allie
it was
wasn't
at.
sitting with the couch coaches.
No,
the ones
that's where it was at.
The ones who are like, I could have been a coach one day, except for I'm not football smart. So
I got a question for Bailey.
ask it, buddy.
All right, being a coach's kid, do you think that people are more eager to criticize you because you are one of the coach's sons? Because
Yeah,
I've seen that a lot. Where
I definitely agree with that. They're quick to say, oh, he's just playing because he's the coach's kid, or and stuff like that. But I always, baseball was my thing. I was a baseball guy. When I was in 9th grade, I didn't even start until halfway through the season because we had a little incident go on, and then he was like, Dad looks at me and goes, hey, can you play third base? And I was like, yeah, I guess.
Do you wear a glove out there? Sure.
I feel like you get more criticized because you're a coach's kid, but it's okay. You gotta.
I just wonder, I know sometimes I have a friend of mine, his son's growing up and he's playing. He's kind of prepared for that. Look,
Yep.
It is what it is. It comes with the territory, so you're gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah.
So, like we were talking about the haters earlier. Look, man, you just gonna have to let that go.
Mm-hmm.
Don't feed off of it.
Sure.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's just the way it's gonna be.
It's just, you got to have thick skin. As a coach, you have to have thick skin. It comes with, you want to be a coach, and then they kind of groom you to have thick skin too. Like, I feel like kids have more thick skin than anybody because, like you said, you win a state championships, everybody's your best friend, and then, you lose a game, and then you hear all these things like, okay, but, I feel like our dads have been very successful. So if they're going to the playoffs every year, then I don't feel like they should be criticized like that, But that's just, you got to have thick skin. It comes with the territory, and you have to just deal with that, and
And even being a coach's daughter, because you got to go to school and you got to listen to it.
You gotta go to school. That's
So
right.
did your dad? Did he kind of let you know that's part of it comes with the territory?
Yeah, I guess just I was around it my whole life, so I guess
You just
it just kind of came natural, I guess.
Yeah.
But as far as like being a daughter, Dad had some players from Springville come up not too long ago to visit with him, and they said when we were at Springville, I was 4 or 5, so I was younger. But I would always go to the field house with Dad, and they said he would make them. They're working out and practicing and stuff, and they said they would always pull me over there tell me to go tell my dad that they had been working out long enough. And so he always had this soft side with me more so than the players. Like, even when I was in high school, I remember walking out to practice one day because I needed to tell him something, and he was like running down the field screaming, and then I walk out there and he'll come and put his arm around me and hug me, and all the players are like, hey, can you stay afraid of me? Hey, hang out. And it's like, I mean, it just in the blink of an eye, it's just like a totally different person, but
That's pretty cool.
I still got disciplined at home. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
the coach came out quite often, I feel like.
Yeah, well, that's like on Friday nights, and I would walk out, like James Blanchard would walk out with the captains, and he'd be all gung ho, and then I'd like chop block his knee or something, and he'd turn around, and I'd be like, hey, Pop, and he'd be like, hey, and then he'd be like, okay, I gotta go. And like that, like the shadow came back over, like, but I mean, like, that's the thing, like Bayley being the coach's son and having to be around these people, like I have had people get on social media before and say, like 10 years, graduated 10 years ago and say, I didn't get to play baseball because I was friends with Coach Blanchard's, his daughter's ex-boyfriend, and he didn't play me. And I'm like, if you think for 1 second, and you can at me, you know who I'm talking to, if you think for 1 second that James Blanchard didn't play you because of who my boyfriend was, one, James Blanchard didn't even know I had a boyfriend. 9 times out of 10, he didn't know that I was alive during season. And 2, did it ever occur to you that you were just fat and slow? I'm just saying. I mean, like, you get those people who are like as a coach's kid,
I
but
think I hear your phone blowing up right now.
good. You can tweet me. It's Blanche 0421. I'm on all the time because I'm usually sending dad jokes to Jane Calhoun, telling him like, hey. But I mean, yeah, like it's one of those things where, as a coach's kid, you're always you're the scapegoat, and that's, I feel like social media has kind of, like Coach Curry got out right there, because like now it's like social media is everything.
Yeah,
like
everything.
if you don't have anything to say to their face, like, well, you can tweet it, or you can
absolutely
make a passive aggressive status and be like,
was it keyboard warriors?
yeah, keyboard warriors, like throw on your tinfoil hat, keyboard warriors. And there are people who literally hate like entire programs because of like some moron, and it's just one of those, like, if you've never set foot on the campus and you don't know those kids, then, I mean, because that's the thing, like when you say, like, oh, I hate the 2009 Warriors, like, you're from Georgia. Well, because it's that Cody Blanchard kid's a turd, like, yeah, so?
Want a state championship?
I mean, like, but I hate Cherokee County. Like, that'd be like me being like, you know what, I'm the biggest Baton Rouge fan in the world. Ever been there? Nope. I saw them on YouTube one time though, and I love those guys. But you know who I hate? Rome. Why? Because I was Ben's old school. It just really upset me that he went there first. I mean, it's that kind of stuff. People just don't think about it. And like when you attack a program you know nothing about, like it's one thing to say like I hate Bayley.
I get that every day.
All the time he does. But it's another thing to like just, or like, you know, things that you know nothing about and just jump, because to me, like as a coach's kid, and I know you're loyal too, and you have to be, you take it personal. Like it's a personal attack when you're saying mean things, and I don't think people get that, because I don't come to like the grocery store and talk about how slow that cashier is.
Right. Yeah.
Or like, hey, your mom was at the doctor's office and she gave me a shot and it hurt and she sucks. Like I don't do that, and people will do that. Like I mean, well, you know, people will tell you like, oh man, I hated center when I went to, like, why? You didn't even play us.
Yeah.
Why'd you hate
or like
center?
you didn't even play. It'd be people from Cherokee County, and it's like you didn't even play football.
Oh man, yeah. That's
Yeah.
That's a lot.
But there's also good to it. Like some of the most fun times of my life, or the most memorable moments, you know, have just been like friends that have become family through coaching and playing and fans and what have you. You know, I mean, like Friday nights were, even when I was younger, like me and Candace, that's their cousin. We would like we look forward to riding to the games. We'd get a snack on the way home.
Not you and Candace. Not you guys.
And then like our parents would, you know, watch, especially when we were winning, like watch film, and they'd get together after the game, and it was just like Friday nights were just something that we always looked forward to. And then especially when we were in high school and we would win, it was like, hey, we're gonna go to a friend's house. We're like, okay,
yeah, bye.
bye.
You'd be like, why are you taking that roll of toilet paper? Like that case of
We need extra toilet paper.
We don't know. We're not rolling yards or anything. We're not doing anything we're not supposed to be doing.
So it was all, you know, I mean, it's been I wouldn't trade it for the world. Even with all the people lashing out and all that stuff, it definitely, it definitely take it personal, and it's not always easy. Especially the older I got. I think the older I got, it was like a lot harder to. When I was younger, I guess I just didn't see it or have to, social media wasn't like as big then, I guess, as it now is now. So
it's a lot of good. It does a lot of good, but it also does one of those things where you're like football season. If you ever wonder who your friends are, go into football season, and you'll walk out a whole lot lighter or heavier. Like, I feel like I've swapped some people, but I've also picked up some great ones.
There you go. That's how it goes.
I like those. I like the pickups more than the ones that I've swapped. Buddy's over there. You're one of the ones I don't like anymore. I'm just kidding. I love Buddy Ford. Buddy let me name his baby Dion.
No, it is not Baby Dion, for the record.
It's Baby Dion Sanders, and I'm proud of it. But now one thing I do miss about center, like Coach Smith didn't do film on Sundays, so like, at Cherokee County, Coach Curry would have them in there from like 12 to 12, and Sundays were the day that you'd be like, it's free for let's go.
Yes, it's a free Sunday. They're watching film today.
Yes, but Coach Smith has them in at like 3 o'clock, and they're home at like a reasonable hour, and you're like, what the crap? I couldn't do anything. I could do nothing. I got nothing done today. But Bailey, do you have anything fun to add? Any fun stories?
I mean, I'd say, there is a lot of good for sure that come out of it. And, you're seeing, your dad interact with all these other kids, all these young men or young guys growing into young men, and going out, and they mainly are teaching them, be a good husband when you get out and do this and that. So that's the good stuff that you see out of it, and you love that. But I'd say a funny story I had with Dad, playing with him is probably Madison Academy. I always bring this one up. We were playing a big game my senior year, Madison Academy, 3rd round, and we got into it on the field. Taylor Hayes was the reason, though. T. Hayes.
You and Coach Blanchard?
Yes.
Okay.
T. Hayes is always the reason. He's an instigator, but he was rolling around the pocket during scale and throws it, after the play is over, and I stopped guarding him, which I shouldn't have, and Dad got on to me because I was guarding one of their better receivers, and we kind of got into it, and then on the way home, I back talked him, and I caught one to the chest, but
it was a love tap.
It was a love
before
tap.
anyone calls CPS.
Yeah, don't do that.
It's love.
But it made me better, and we ended up going to win that game, and had a special moment after that game. I always went up to him before the games. We'd run through the what do y'all call it? Victory line. Yes.
What do y'all?
That thing you run through.
What do you peasants call it?
And I would always go up to him before the game, and we'd have that moment. We'd hug each other and go play. So
that's fun. And I just. If there's one thing that you could tell people, like from a coach's kid perspective, like if you could leave them with one little tidbit of information, what would you leave them with?
Oh gosh, hard question.
Do you want me to ask Bailey first?
Ask Bailey first.
That is hard. You saying like as just being a coach's kid, if you're a coach's kid, what to take from it?
Yeah, I mean, like what I would say would be like, you don't understand until you are married to a coach or the child of a coach, you don't understand like the time that goes into it,
right.
And the heart and soul that's poured into it, and the overall, like the fact that these are people who are spending more time with other people's kids than their own kids. I mean, like, like wedding planning it's revolved around. Like, I wanted a fall wedding, but can you do a fall wedding as a football coach's kid? No, you really can't. So it was one of those, like, we're going to try to jam it all in onto a Sunday, and then we went ahead and broke down, like, my rehearsal dinner will be a rehearsal lunch, so we can all be at the game Friday night, and then have a wedding Saturday, mid-afternoon, and then you got to get home at a reasonable hour, so you can go to film Sunday. Yeah. And it's that kind of stuff that people don't realize. Like this, when you're part of a coach's family, it's not just the coach that you're coming at, because it's also the family that gave up the long summer vacations because summer workouts are in. It's the coach's family that didn't get to go anywhere for Thanksgiving because you should still be playing, and we love it. Like I'm not complaining. Like, I love it. I wouldn't trade everything. I know you would trade everything, but before you start jumping on coaches or anything, just remember, like from a kid's standpoint, like from the coach's kid's standpoint, like we've missed out on a lot, so they can be there for your kids.
I'd say, you know, I'm one of the fortunate ones that got to play for my dad, you know. So I was getting to see him, and you know, I wake up at night and he's up at 3 a.m. studying film. So he puts in that work, and I feel like a bunch of coaches do that, especially if you're a successful coach. And so I mean, that's a big thing. So if you want to coach, go get your degree and go coach.
Or board ball. You don't have to have a degree for board ball.
As far as like for the coaches' kids, but like just to have fun with it and enjoy the time, because it is, I mean, you know, it can be exhausting, and they do put a lot of time and effort into it, but at the end of the day, like, it's fun, and you get to see, like,
Sure.
looking back on it, there's just so much success that they've had, or like so many lives they've changed, and so it's fun to see that difference in people's lives, you know, from a coach, as far as what the coach has done
Yeah.
for them too. So.
Well, and I know it's fun for you to like run into people in public and who are like, "Oh my God, how's your dad?"
Yeah,
Or
all the time. Yeah, especially with home health. I mean, people all the time. They're like, "Oh, you're Coach Curry's daughter."
Curry, do
Yeah.
you know Tripp? Like, know him? He made me.
So yeah, it's really fun. It's a fun experience to have and enjoy, and I wouldn't trade it for the world for sure.
No, I wouldn't either.
Yeah,
But,
for sure.
well, guys, I know that everyone has lives, which is crazy because I could stay here all night. But I'm going to let you guys get back to your lives. And you guys, this was kind of a weird way to close out, but I feel like we've chatted with a bunch of wives. We've kind of hit a whole bunch of things, and we've always managed to kind of cover the spread. So tonight I wanted to switch it up on you and give you some coaches' kids, because we are pretty cool for the most part, unless you cross us, in which case then we're not. So just don't do that. I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding. Thank you guys so much for watching. And now we're getting ready to roll into basketball season. So keep close eye, because basketball wives will be coming soon. And I have a list of some pretty fantastic women to catch back up with. So you guys have just borne witness to Friday Night Wives, but this was the Coach's Kids edition. And thank you so much. Bye, guys.